So Ninjago is obviously a show that's been going on for about 15 years at this point, which is insane. But it also means that it has had a lot of episodes, and not every episode can be a banger. So today we're going to be talking about the worst episode of Ninjago, episode 70, The Attack. Yeah, I have a lot of reasons for this one. Firstly, The Attack. Let's talk about the story here. The ninja have all the time blades, and by the end of the episode, the ninja have none, and Master Wu is taken by the Time Twins. That is what this episode does. That is all this episode does. It literally gets the ninjas from one point where they have basically won to the next point where they have basically lost, which is a very interesting and very good storyline approach, in my opinion. But the way this episode does it is just baffling. Now, remember, this episode is supposed to be 20 minutes long. And what we get in those 20 minutes is just pure nonsensical filler, which just exists to get the ninjas from one point to the other. This episode starts off with the ninjas, mainly Jay, Cole, and Zane, acting like kids with the time blades, which is something the ninjas would never do, despite them definitely being childish at some points. They wouldn't do something like that. And this was a baffling and really cheap approach of trying to sell Lloyd as a leader. They basically reduced the ninja's IQ to make Lloyd seem smart, if that makes sense. And yeah, no, that was a really, really bad way to go with the story. The ninjas would never do this. Again, this wastes like 5 minutes of the episode. 5 minutes of seeing the ninjas just goof around, which is fine. But here they're just out of character, so what's the point even, right? Then we continue on with the Vermilion and the Hands of Time just kind of making a plan and getting ready to attack the ninjas, which it's fine, I guess, but I mean, it is just there. Then we go on at the 8 minute mark. The Vermilion start attacking the ninjas at the monastery, and we basically continue on this boring, very boring fight scene for the next 12 minutes. And it's genuinely so painful. It is painful to watch this. I am rewatching it at the moment, trying to find things to talk about it, and I'm baffled by this. This is just so horrible. There's a scene where Miss Misako tries to fight the Vermilion, and it's so cheap. She just drinks tea before doing it. On the other hand, I mean, Lloyd makes an elemental dragon and falls off like a minute later, which, I mean, come on, just come on. And obviously, this episode even includes the infamous, terrible gif of Ninjago, where I think this right here, this gif is the peak animation decline of Ninjago. This is the worst animated Ninjago thing ever, especially. And remember, in this episode, Master Wu literally comes out as well, just because he's so stupid and the story needs to continue. This is the worst possible Ninjago episode ever. And even in the end, the way the ninjas lose, that is one thing this episode was trying to do, right? It wanted the ninjas to lose. The way it does that, it got 10, 15 minutes of a battle. And you know how it ends it? It ends it by the ninjas winning, Lloyd putting his hands up in the air like a buffoon. And what even is that Vermilion's name? She just grabs it. I mean, genuinely, what were they thinking? What were the writers cooking with this? This is not my Ninjago, Chad. And this literally also, like, what is Lloyd's point anymore? Lloyd was trying to sell himself as the leader in the first half, and now he just fumbles like the easiest score of the century. Who puts their hands up after winning? I am genuinely baited by this because it is such a bad episode. There's literally nothing to this episode which is good. Name one thing in this episode that is good. In the end of this episode, by some miracle of God, Kai finds out that like his blacksmith's parents are making the vermilion armor and stuff, and that's where we end off. This episode leaves the ninjas in such a bad place, but I mean, there's no point to it because I mean, it's just such a horrible episode. I do not know what they were cooking with this. I do not know what they were cooking with this. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get monetized soon, so please watch the video and like the video if you have